The future, resources are running out, people are surviving as best they can. We are shown a young man who arrived by train. The guy is supposed to be met and taken to a construction site, but no one answers his questions, or doesn't want to answer them. The guy goes to the street toilet, and there he is interrupted by a voice from behind the door, who asks if he is the one who needs to go to the construction site. After that, the same voice orders him to save water. They are driving through a deserted area, and the driver names the price of the trip. However, the passenger thinks it is overpriced, but there is nothing to be done, otherwise they will not get to the right place. On the radio news there is talk of environmental degradation, prices are constantly rising, and the government is reconvening to address pressing issues. A man stops for the night right in the desert. Sitting by the fire, the traveler says that he is from the West, and it is getting harder to live there, because there is a real civil war. The driver says that his acquaintances are fleeing to the south, but things are bad there too, and soon refugees will pour into their territory. None of them have any relatives left, but everyone is used to it. The driver wonders why the guy is going to the construction site, as no one has been going there for a long time. But the traveler replies that there are some opportunities there, and shows an advertising booklet that promises a complete change of life in 4 months. The driver laughs at this, because the management of the construction site is ready for anything to lure people here. After all, in fact, the work is tedious, the shifts are long, the work site is difficult, and everyone walks around angry all the time, and the guy will instantly become a target, with his puppy dog eyes and calm smile. However, the guy assures the driver that he can handle it. In the morning, our heroes drive on. Suddenly, in the middle of the desert, the car breaks down because the guy turned on the air conditioner. The traveler apologizes, but the driver is out of his mind from anger. However, there is nothing to do and the car has to be fixed. While the driver is engaged in repairs, our hero goes to a stunted tree and sees a strange scattering of stones nearby. Clearing one of them, the guy suddenly realizes that it is nothing but gold. After a bit of thinking, the guy asks for the driver and shows him the treasure he has found. The men start digging and realize that it is not a stone, but a mountain of gold that goes far into the ground. They try to pull the block of gold out with the help of a car, but it fails. After working until dark, the driver suggests gathering kindling for the night to scare off the stray dogs that are watching them. Sitting by the fire, the driver wonders whether the guy now needs a construction site, because now he has found a bunch of gold, and this is a real luck. Except that the men realize that they simply cannot pull out the gold by their own efforts. So, it is necessary to go for an excavator. They decide that one should stay to guard their find, and the second will go to the city. The driver plans the route, and it turns out that 2 days there, plus 2 days back, and another day to search, for a total of 5 days. The driver suggests that the guy go to get the excavator, but the guy thinks it would be better if a driver who knows the area went. However, the driver is not sure that the guy will survive without him, because he is not from these places, and he has little experience of survival, and it is necessary to save water, hunt animals, hide from the sun, and the guy may panic. What if someone passes by and the guy sells the booty? The driver doesn't want to risk it, but the guy insists he can handle it. In the morning, the driver packs up. The man leaves some water, some food, and a knife, as well as a satellite phone. The driver will call the guy from the road from a pay phone and inform him of the situation. They should be able to handle it, and when the driver returns, they'll be rich. The driver leaves and our hero is left alone. The sun is at its zenith and it is starting to get hot. The guy covers the unearthed gold with sand and makes a tent for himself for the night. He checks the satellite connection and the rest of the water in the bottle. Later, the guy gathers kindling and prepares to spend the night. After dinner, our hero sits by the fire, listens to the sounds of animals, and falls asleep. In the morning, the guy hears the phone ringing and runs to it, but does not have time to pick it up. Suddenly the wind rises, and our hero decides to look for a safe shelter. A little away, literally behind a neighboring barcan, the guy finds the remains of the fuselage of the crashed plane. He sneaks into the cockpit, and sits down much more comfortably than under a tree, but you can't see the place he is guarding. Then the man decides to drag part of the airplane to his tree. Now the guy has a kind of tent where he can hide from the scorching sun. especially since the guy's neck and face are very badly burned. Crouching by his riches, the guy sees a Varan and starts talking to him. A little later, our hero tries to break off a piece of gold, and he succeeds. At that moment, the phone rings again. His partner informs him that he is delayed because his car engine overheated. Having learned that the guy broke off a piece of gold, he orders him to wait for him and do nothing, because soon he will be back and they will be fabulously rich. During the night, the guy is attacked by wild dogs, but he manages to scare them away with fire. In the morning, our hero wakes up with severe pain in the burned parts of his body, and crouching by the water canister, he sees a snake. Trying to catch the snake, he knocks over the bottle with the precious liquid, and this leads him to despair. It turns out that there is very little water left, and the canned food is running low. The man goes to the airplane again with the intention of tearing off and dragging some more pieces to reinforce his tent. But suddenly he sees a man walking straight towards him. The guy rushes inside the airplane, hoping to hide from the stranger and, most importantly, to hide the nugget. However, a guest approaches the airplane and suggests that the guy go outside. The uninvited guest turns out to be a woman with a bow and arrow. The guy comes out of the shelter and the woman asks if he needs resources and offers a snake, but the guy refuses. The lady tells him that there is water and shelter from the sun 5 kilometers away. The woman asks, "What is the guy doing exactly here?" The lady looks around the neighborhood and heads towards his tent. The guy tries to stop her. The lady asks to be allowed to warm herself by the fire, but the guy gives her the airplane and wishes her luck. The woman keeps up with the guy and asks him questions, but gets no answers. Eventually, the guy breaks down and asks her to leave him alone. The lady realizes the guy's body is dehydrated and starts telling him what's in store for him when his brain finally dries up. The lady heads towards his tree and the guy tries to push her away. The lady persistently interrogates the guy, "How did he get here?" The woman thinks the guy is hiding something and says he thinks he can come here from his town and take what he wants. So the guy knocks her out. After searching and taking everything of value, the guy buries a woman nearby. Now he has some water and food. But then the guy notices stray dogs trying to dig up the grave and realizes they won't let up. The guy digs up and drags the woman away from his camp and sets up a funeral pyre in the evening. In the morning, the guy is awakened by the phone ringing. His partner informs him that he has found an excavator, but it is moving very slowly, but he hurries as fast as he can and asks him to wait for it, and that he now has a phone and can be called at any time. Suddenly the guy sees the car, but after looking at his gold pile, he hides from possible rescue. The next morning a sandstorm begins, and our hero barely manages to hide in his tent. However, the tent moves under the pressure of the wind, and in the end it is blown to pieces. And then a collapsed tree hits the guy on the head, and he loses consciousness. When he wakes up, the guy realizes that the piece of wood has pierced him through, but the main thing is that now there is no landmark to locate the gold deposit. The boy digs in the sand with his last strength, and still finds the cherished stone. Our hero manages to pull out a splinter of wood and cauterize the wound. The guy looks at the road, but he can't see anything. Suddenly, the woman he killed approaches him with a drawn bow. The lady gives him water, and the guy realizes that these are the visions she warned him about. The guy hears his phone ringing and finds it in a pile of sand. His partner asks how he's doing, and the guy admits he can't see her, even though she's all over the place. The conversation partner starts to figure out who she is and orders him to get rid of her. The guy hears the woman's voice again and she offers him food, but he refuses her help. The lady asks if he has seen her sister. The guy faints again. Waking up, the guy sees himself surrounded by campfires and calls his partner again. The driver says he's getting close. But then the guy is overtaken by wild dogs, and they are intent on getting their prey. In the last shots of the movie, the driver sits nearby by the campfire and smokes, listening to the dogs tearing the guard apart, who takes one last look at an advertisement where he is promised a change in his life in 4 months. After waiting for the dogs to do their job, the driver drives up to the already breathless body, but an arrow comes from somewhere. Now there are 2 bodies in front of the mountain of gold. This movie is an abstract parable, and stories like this happened during the gold rush or other similar situations where greed took over humanity. A piece of metal with magical powers, making you go crazy and kill for it. Is this really going to be repeated until the very end of humanity? This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this movie to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.